Hello there. So another day and another video. Okay, I'm gonna talk about hatred because this is very important for white supremacy to work. Hatred, because is this what all they do is really expression of hatred? No, because if you don't hate someone, how can you even subject them to inhumanity? Because we're not even just talking about being a bad guy, bad cop, good cop. No, we're talking about straight up, you just want this person ill. We're talking about mayhem. We're talking about diabolical things you want to subject this person to. So how are you going to do that if there is no hatred in you? This is not even about anger. It's straight up hatred. How do you do that without hatred? Because if you're just angry, you're not gonna be diabolical. Because if someone provoke you into anger, you're going to react, but that's it. Once you reacted, you're basically done. But with hatred, because that is a very fundamental emotion, is something that can be expanded and built upon and made even bigger, and you can, hatred can become an operation itself. Hatred can be the foundation of even a culture, as white supremacy is based on. It's hatred. So I'm very interested to know how someone is going to be able to have a culture, their lifestyle, their way of living, their tradition, the one they pass from generation to generation, of just subjecting a group of people and anybody at time in their space that is not them. They don't have this physical European white skin, the physical European eye shades, colors. They don't have the physical European hair, texturized hairs, and whatever color it comes in. Then you just want to subject these people or that person to diabolical stuff, mayhem, wickedness, atrocities, brutality, terrorism, and all kind of wickedness we're talking about here. This is wickedness, yeah? Without hatred. The other day, I was sitting at the station charging my phone, and this sicko, white British male, was expressing hatred towards Chinese people. There was a Chinese couple sitting right across from where I was sitting. We're talking about just something like 1 meter difference between my bench and their bench. And he's just talking shit about these people loud so that they can hear it. Intentionally done, yeah? That these Chinese people are rats and things like that. They eat dogs, they're rats, da 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 da. This is intentionally done. There was no mistake about that. But how do you go around calling someone a rat without hatred? Because if you're just upset, you're not gonna spend the next 10-15 minutes like this fella talking about how Chinese people are rats. There has to be hatred as the root cause, the fundamental for whatever you are up to, basically, yeah? So when you have hatred as your character, as your norm, as the foundation for your culture, I just wonder, man, hatred. Just thinking about, like, throughout history, how many people in terms of just an empire known for being a producer of any kind of weapons of war. Let us even go back in history, even like in biblical times. Was any kingdom in the Bible ever mentioned to be the mass producer of swords, the mass producers of daggers, the mass producers of bows and arrows, where this is what everyone knows you for? You are literally the industry for dagger production, the industry for swords production, the industry for bows production and arrows, for war. That is why you sell these things. This is your industry. Did anyone in the Bible get that recognition? No one. In fact, people produced on weapons when they had need for it. It was like there was someone specifically everyone went to buy. When the Israelites were in war, they produced their own things. The Philistines, they did their own thing. The Amorites, they produced their own daggers. Whoever here produced their own bows. It was like, okay, so we are now having Ammon over here. He is our dagger producer. So everyone from Cush, even from Sheba, we will go all the way to cross we will get on ships from Cush or Sheba in Ethiopia and sail over to Arabia just to buy some dagger from an Amorite army. That didn't exist. When someone needed war, they really had skilled men producing these things, and when war was nearing, they get their order from the king to produce things for war here. It wasn't like, okay, this is your job, literally, to just you make a living out of making daggers for war. This is your living, your lifetime career to make bows and arrows so that people can go to war. I mean, this is just, you don't need to be having hatred in your heart to even think something like this, that you're going to be the industry, the industrial complex for war. Because isn't this what it is? You're literally the industry of war. You're literally the war company, the war industrial complex. Yeah? Basically, that's what it is. And people have to come to you to buy weapons because you're the one behind the war. You're the one conspiring those war. You script those war. You plan those war. You sit down your conspiracy table. The Berlin conference is not the only one here. You guys have done this before that. You've been doing it ever since then. You sit down on a table and you discuss about who needs to go to war. And then when that people have to go to war, because you're the one who say they need to go to war, and you're the one who say how they're going to go to war, you're the one who say how they're going to fight this war, and then now you decide where they're going to get the weapons for the war. You. Yeah? Basically, there is no coincidence here because you just can't let people live their lives. People just have to be under you suffering. Because that is all it is to these white people. You're supposed to be under them to suffer. Because instead of you working on how to build your hometowns, your villages, instead of you guys just being submissive to your local king and queens and whoever else here, and working on communal things such as how do we produce separate lands here? Who among us here in this village would like to sell the lands to the king so that we can turn this into a huge corn plantation? So we can turn this broad piece of land here into just customer production, things like that. No, you guys are not supposed to live that kind of lifestyle where you have the time to think and organize yourself and be productive members of your own society. You're going to dedicate your life putting up your fists against the white man and white woman. Yay! Ding, 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 ding. That is the life you're supposed to live, literally a suffering lifestyle. Yeah, that is all there is to you. Just suffer for white man and woman because they're just so worthy of your suffering here. They're worthy of your suffering. They're worthy of your sweat. They're worthy of your blood. They're worthy of your tears. It's so sexy to see those tears dripping down your eyes. It is just so sexual arousing to see you cry blood. Sexy, sexy. Yeah? You don't need hatred to be fine with this kind of thing, to even want people to live like this. You don't have no hatred in you. You want this for people. There's no hatred whatsoever. There is no hatred in what these white people and the stupid Indians were doing yesterday at Patton Station, because you guys shrinked my hair and you wanted to break it, but of course it didn't get to that point because they have protection here. So all you can do is just dry it up, and then the hair is not gonna break if I don't use the comb wrongly. Yeah. So I know how to deal with the hair you guys cursed on me, remember? Because like I said now, when do we even get conscious of how we look like from the age of 7? By that time, you guys already changed me upside down. I everything, yeah, at the age of 7, I was everything I am now. So there's nothing new for me that my hair would shrink or anything here. I'm not gonna shed no tears for that, because this is the hair I've literally known all my life, yeah? And I know exactly how to handle dry hair. I know how to handle fully thick hair. I know all that because I've had this hair as far as my conscience is concerned, yeah? But these people will be staring at me yesterday, literally coming to stare at my hair. This is not hatred. You just come to stare at my hair. What kind of abnormal, beastly, I don't know what this is. But this is not human nature. You literally come to stare at someone's hair, looking at it with disgust, looking at it with despise, looking at it with hatred. This is what you live off. Literally. There's no hatred here. Because why do you even feel the need to come and stare at my hair? Natural, like cursed in this case, but regardless, why do you even take your time to come and stare at someone's hair? An animal zoo, basically. Because this is what you do with people who in animal zoos. You come to stare at them, how different they are from the white man and woman. You come to stare how different the black skin is from your white skin. You come to stare at how their nose is just so much broader than your sharp carrot nose. You come to stare at how their eye color is just so deep black compared to yours which are blue, green, amber, brown, and whatnot goes on. You come to stare at the hair, how it's just so jet black compared to yours that is like brown, gray, blonde, silver. You come to stare at the hair, that the fact that it's just so coily compared to yours, just straight like dead man's head. You come to stare at the people at the human zoo because they're just, it's fascinating how humans can just look like animals. Like, how come human beings looks just like chimpanzees and monkeys and ape and gorillas? You don't need hatred to be doing this to someone. And this person is not even in a human zoo. Someone's supposed to be living in a free environment here. And this is what you do 24/7. Come and stare at this animal human in the human zoo. An open, free-ranged human zoo walker am I. You made me that. You don't need hatred to be doing something like this. Because what is it this thing even does ever for this person? It does nothing. Them coming to stare at me, how much they hate my hair, how much they just look at me, is not doing nothing here. It's not changing anything. It's not influencing nothing here. They're just in it because it is fun for them. They want to do it. Which again says there's no hatred here for you to desire something like this. You need to have hatred inside you to even want to feel attracted and drawn to this kind of human, oh, it's not even human, but this kind of terrestrial demonic nature behavior, basically. But back to the war situation here. For you to literally decide that you are going to make a living out of making weapons for war. You don't go around starting a gun, firearm company industry for the sake of free rangers going to kill some bears and deers in the woods. You don't do that. For you to start an industry is because you want to profit off war. What kind of a healthy human being would even want that? That you're going to make a living out of people dying and killing themselves? The kind of things that take place in war, women being raped, children being killed, women being killed, all kind of things that take place in war, and you want to make a living out of that. You literally say that this is what I'm going to make a living of. This is my career for life, to create weapons so that people can kill each other, so that people can die. That is what my life career is based on. I want that for myself because the money is just so good. This is not human nature whatsoever. Because like I already said, throughout history, there's nowhere ever was anyone ever known to be the industrial complex of weapon production. Only white man never did that. And we all know that all these wars ever since white man made himself the producer of weapons because he's wanting to do so. Said no? Yeah. Has been heavily conspired, scripted, architected, and controlled by the very same white man we need to go and buy our weapons from. No, you don't need hatred to do that. That you say to someone, okay, you have war, I have weapons for you, keep fighting. Because if you don't give them weapons, they're not going to shoot no more. And I doubt that a lot of wars will even last as long as that, because if you have to go around using knives, using stone, it's going to require way more harder work. With guns and firearms, just bang, 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 job done. It's easier, and it gives enemy teams the motivation, the drive to continue in the war, because it's just an easier job to do compared to you going around wrestling with one another, using guns, using daggers, swords, using whatever other natural tools here compared to firearms and guns, pistols, things like that. You're a friend of someone and you will give them a gun to kill their own family, because that's what it is. You kill your own family. You don't have hatred for this person. No, because I can't see how you can even like this person and sell them guns so that they can kill their own household. What kind of like, let alone love? Not to mention, you're the one who even conspired, architectured, scripted the war. And then just push that spirit over to them. Physical will be ideas, ideologies, political disagreements, whatever, debate. But spiritually speaking, this is you pushing over a spirit of war to this person. And then once you see that everything is set, now you come to the aid as the good seller here. I have guns for you. You're struggling with the enemy. He's pistol for you. Keep on fighting. There's no hatred here, because I see a lot, and I see a lot of hatred here. There's a lot of hatred, yeah. These kind of things that you don't want this person to do better than you in any sense. It's supposed to be beneath you. It has to be a difference where you even see and feel it. So what you people don't understand is, like, with these white people, for them to actually be comfortable, we talk about within themselves, for them to actually be comfortable, at ease, and okay with you having a permanent full-time job as a cashier at Tesco, Sainsbury's, Asda, they should really be the manager of this very store. Then they will be happy with you working under them in a lower paid salary, in submission, obedience, and taking instruction from them. And they still have a higher salary than you, which means they can have a better house than you. They will still have a better car than you. They will still travel where you cannot travel. They will still have social connections you cannot have. Then they're okay with you having a comfortable, enjoyable lifestyle that is beneath them by the end of the day. Yeah? But if the role is reversed, you're the one who is the manager of this Tesco, let alone being like some kind of a CEO, a director, or board member of them, and they're the one working at the till, they're not gonna be happy with it. especially if you don't take upon yourself the role of petting them, treating them with children. Like a lot of you, these are just black people, a lot of you ethnic minorities, you find yourself in this position where once you have some kind of elevated status, you're not at the bottom of the employment hierarchy here, where you're somehow a supervisor, a manager, or any kind of like a leading position in any company. You find yourself in a position where you have to be treating your white employees like children in order for you to have peace and gain their approval that you are petting them, you're cuddling them, you're being extra careful towards them, that is not even a part of your job. Because white managers, white supervisors don't do that to ethnic minorities, not even other white people. It's only ethnic minority people who does this to white people once they have some kind of elevated status. So somehow you're beneath them. They have to find a way to pull you beneath them. So if you're not above them as a supervisor, you're not above them as a manager, you're not above them as whatever here, you're going to now come beneath them in the extent how you serve them by dethroning your authority. Because that's what you really do. You are dethroning your authority. Because as a supervisor, as man, you're not supposed to be cuddling, petting. You have kids at home, don't you? I'm telling you, you don't have child at home. You don't have some toddler at home. You don't have some 5-year-old home, a 9-year-old who needs your attention like that. You really have to do that at work where you are the supervisor, the manager. Because white people don't do that in that position. They don't do that. But why you have to be doing that in order to gain their approval? So you somehow have to dethrone yourself for them and serve them in order for them to be somehow. They're not exactly happy with it, but they will tolerate your position by you dethroning yourself like that. You don't need hatred to be living like this. You really don't need to have hate and hatred to be living like this. Seriously. I'm just saying, man. You don't need to have hatred to be going around just pulling down any black person on the street, a black male, just for driving a car. You need to have hatred, and just because the man admits that he have a firearm in the car, you now shoot him dead just for saying you have a firearm. He didn't even pull the gun up. You didn't even see no gun. He just said, yes, I do have a gun in this car, and then you bang, 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 dead. You don't need hatred for that. There is no hatred just for you just hating this person for being alive in order for you to even react like that. But in all this, you still have to serve them by being the one who, yay, I'm so strong, boom, 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 boom. Instead of you living your life, going to work, coming home to your husband and children, going on vacation, thinking about how you can serve your community, thinking about what you can do for your nation. I have rights, I am a human, you have to see me, you have to like me, you have to love me. White people, I love you no matter what you do to me. Doesn't matter how much you hate me, how much mayhem you have for me. What have you even done to me? Even you beat me black and blue yesterday. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. I'm going to lick it, I'm going to eat your poop, I'm going to swallow your pee. I am going to just love you and cuddle you. I'm so strong. You have to be doing that. And it's just basically you saying how much you love them, how you're so desperate for them to see you, how you're just so desperate for them to love you, how you just want to be loved by them because you don't know anything about being loved, yeah? It's your responsibility to be crying your tongues out, your voice out. It's literally, your vocal cord is almost exploded once you're done. And then when do you guys start this thing again? I think we started kindergarten. Isn't it? Because we hear stories about kindergarten. The faces are raised at kindergarten. By the time you are at the age of 30, your vocal cord should have, you need a surgery, I think. Yeah? If you just think about how much you have screamed, See me, love me, love me, love me. I love you so much, white shit. Even though you're shit, I just love you. I'm so desperate for you. Yeah. At the age of 30, your vocal cords, you need an operation, big time. You need some vocal cord transplant. I don't know, but it's still you who have to sort this thing out for them, and they just continue to flourish in their devilish and wickedness, and you have to work and solve it. They're not gonna stop. They're not gonna stop because this is who they are, this is the culture, this is the lifestyle. They're not gonna stop, they're not working it. But it's very entertaining to see how you are still suffering, fighting for something that you have no power over, you have no solution, you can't do nothing about it. You're still fighting and you're stressed, you're not living your natural given life. It makes them happy. And it's enjoyable, it's admirable that after your brother was brutally killed, you as a black woman will be raising your face for the next 30 years instead of you focusing on your own children, husband, and the community living. You know, hey, my brother was slaughtered mercilessly by white men 30 years ago. Ding, 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 ding. What about the life you're supposed to live? Such as the children you have, the husband you have, the community living. What about what you are supposed to do in this lifetime now? You're just there. This is all they say you should do in this life. I refuse it. I reject it in Jesus' name. I reject it. I refuse it in Jesus' name. This is not my portion. Absolutely not. If I'm going to ding, it's going to be for what I can get out of it, not for what white shit can get out of it. Just saying, man. I'm going to put up this fist somewhere. I'm actually going to get victory over somewhere I actually have control and say, and I know there's result. There's reward for me in it, perhaps. Where I have assurance that there's something in it for me that is good for me. Not just wasting my life. It's not that I'm weak. I'm not a weak person, but I'm not going to waste my strength where it's unnecessarily needed. I need my strength and my vocal cord for white supremacy. Ding, 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 ding. For what exactly? I have a vision, guys. You know, the word Africa was invented by white shit, yeah? To describe white skin. So this is the dwelling place of black-skinned people. There you get Africans. So a lot of you people are wrong when you say that, oh, white man disunited you. No, there was never one Africa to begin with, because the word Africa didn't even exist. It's a continent given the name of the skin color of the people who live there. And you were never one. No one was ever one in this continent because everyone have their own tribalism. They have so many different empires who had different tribes within themselves, united different groups under an empire, a kingdom. But that was just that empire, that kingdom. They didn't even know about a lot of the other locations within the continent itself. So what are you talking about now? Well, we used to be one Africa, we are one. No, you are never one, you're not one. But I have a vision here that this can be an empire. A continental empire, the biggest empire on earth, because you know this continent is actually biggest on earth. I began to realize that this is actually the biggest continent area-wise on the face of earth. So if we get an empire of this continent, this is gonna be the empire of the ages, and it's gonna be beautiful, perfect. We're going to have nations. We're going to name our nations again. A lot of you need to be renamed. And Namibia, I'm happy with it. I know, for example, Zimbabwe doesn't need to be renamed because they have legitimate names describing who they are. But a lot of you, like Gabon and whoever, you need to change your names, yeah? Even Ethiopia, you need to do something about that name. You cannot have that name Ethiopia. I'm telling you guys, look up Ethiopia. That name needs to go. But you guys, we're going to change our names. We're going to create our borders accordingly to how we want it. And we're going to have an empire where we are who we are. Our nations are our nations. We have our borders there, no problem. We can still travel. We can visit each other. There's no restriction. We'll find a way to make it possible to travel across borders without any issue here. So long as you can afford your stay in this when you cross this border. You can afford your food, you can afford your hotel, whatever you're gonna do, you have that sorted. You can just pass through as long as you're from this empire of the African continent, whatever name we're gonna give it. Yeah, we're going to have free education because we have the resources, guys. We're gonna have free education, we're gonna have free healthcare, we're gonna get rid of this white man's snake system. We're gonna get rid of this white man's pharmacy, snake prince, whatever here out. We're going to take back our natural herbal remedies, and we're going to use the God of Gods to teach us how to produce medication and hospital systems for all of us. We're going to have free healthcare to some extent. There's a lot of things we can produce for free public service here with all the resources we have all over the place. There's a lot of things we can get for free with taxation, of course. When everyone else works and everyone gets taxed, there's a lot of things we can afford for free, absolutely free of charge. You're not even paying for your medication at pharmacy. We can get that done. Free education, free healthcare, all that kind of stuff. A lot of employment being created, and we're not just going to rely on the resources we know. The God of Gods is going to reveal to us all the other resources and materials that we have not yet discovered. We're going to make use of that. We're going to create our own roads with different types of materials. There are different ways to do everything here. This kind of fabric or material used on road here in Europe is not the only one available. There are many other things you can use to create roads here. The same thing like building houses. We don't need to use the same architecture from West. We can have our own creative architecture. We can use different materials. I even saw a bronze houses as some kind of luxurious houses. Like that can be one of my houses in the future, a bronze house. It was beautiful, honestly. You can create bronze houses. You mean tell me you cannot create luxurious buildings of diamonds? Luxurious building of silver. You cannot create luxurious buildings of different materials here. You cannot just have different designs of skyscrapers altogether. When you no longer look at the West and they don't have a voice in anything you have to do, you start thinking for yourself, start exploring yourselves, and start investigating yourself, and start being creative and crafting yourself. It's gonna be a completely new world. A beautiful one at that. Our war strategies are not for our children to carry guns, but we're going to have intelligence by air, by ocean, and by water. We're going to be well equipped, and we're going to populate this continent big time. I see a lot of beautiful things here, but we need to get rid of the white and everything that is dumb. Everything have to go, honestly. The only thing we should keep for some time is a language. It's just for the sake of us communicating for now as we implement our own communicative languages and start teaching that to the kids to the point where, okay, now we have a generation of people who perfectly knows these official languages, and then now we can drop the English, we can drop the French and all that kind of stuff. But I don't see how we should keep on anything apart from that as we build ourselves, honestly. And now we don't need to solve that for white people. This is their mess, man. I mean, like I said, you guys, these people, they set up all their things for themselves. But then when they're sinking, everyone have to sink with them. We didn't even enjoy nothing here. We suffer, now we have to suffer again. No, I refuse. I reject it in Jesus' name. But that was it for you guys.